Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'll be talking about the weather stresses for April 4th, 2026. We do keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. We also maintain a storefront on Amazon. Amazon purchases made through our patient weather storefront support the activities of patient weather. Looking at the surface map for Saturday, very extensive cold front hanging from a low over upper Michigan, and that cold front will be hanging south through Cleveland, Cincinnati, going through Nashville all the way down to Austin. Lots of unsettled weather ahead and along that front, and there's a warm front stretching southeast through Philly, and lots of unsettled weather going up north and south of that warm front also. Looking at our vitality index, a measure of where all of the individual weather elements can have an impact, you'll see we have a little bit something going on here in Wyoming and eastern Montana. Lots of activity down here in the southern plains, extending all the way up into the middle Mississippi and western Ohio Valley. Lots of activity about the Great Lakes, and lots of activity going on in New England. Looking at the change in pressure, we have rising pressure from eastern New Mexico and Texas across Oklahoma to Nebraska, and then picking up again in Arkansas through Missouri and up into Iowa. Rising pressure also across the upper portions of New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, and the Canadian cities to the east. We will have falling pressure across the Great Lakes, mainly from northern Minnesota, across Wisconsin, Michigan, down into northern Indiana, much of Ohio, and into western Pennsylvania and western New York. Looking at the change in temperatures, you can see that we have rising temperatures across almost all of the west, but especially strong here in Wyoming into Montana, and lots of falling temperatures here from Texas across into the middle Mississippi Valley and up to the upper Midwest. We also have some falling temperatures again in New England. Dew point temperatures following very much the same pattern, again with falling dew point temperatures here up through the plains and behind that front and across New England. We have some rising dew point temperatures here over the lakes, and vapor pressure very much showing the same thing with a strong dry out behind the front. Looking at instability, you can see that we're starting to see more summer-like instability with that southerly flow up the plains from Texas clear on up into Iowa, so lots of unsettled weather, potentially even severe there. You'll note that we have some activity going on here right along the Gulf Coast. Looking at the change in oxygen availability, we have a risk of asthma and arthritis really across much of the west, but rather significant here through the most western and coastal areas of Oregon and Washington, and then picking up very strongly again in Wyoming to eastern Montana. We also have that risk of asthma and arthritis across the lakes, especially here in northern Wisconsin, almost all of Michigan, and extending on into the westernmost portions of New York, but it seems to be picking up in a line from Cleveland across to Buffalo. We have a risk of migraine stretching all the way from southern New Mexico across all of Texas and Oklahoma, across into Arkansas, Missouri, and going all the way up into Iowa, but extending to the east across western Kentucky and Illinois, and even into Indiana. Note we also have a risk of migraine stretching from New Jersey across New York City on up into Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and all of the cities and states in New England, and again extending on into eastern Canada. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated, and if you hurt, let us know.